Oh, just a moment. I don't know if you can hear me well or not. Today is still August 15th, 2022. And I just had this thought before I go and alleviate myself. Commode. Okay, so anyway, I was just thinking about the fact that if I were to keep this child, there would be some horrific consequence to having the child. Some people are like, no, it's just nothing but a blessing. And I'm thinking, no, you don't understand the way my world works. There's always a balance in everything, give and take. So if I were to accept loving something else, that would accept the impending pain that they would go through. And it's horrible for me to have to watch. Like when my dogs passed away, like when my daughter was ripped away from me, when she got hit in the head that one time with that jumpy thing in the door frame, smacked her right in the head. I didn't know how to handle it. It was horrifying. When she got bit up by ants one time, and I started putting, of course, myself, immediately started to wipe off all the fire ants that had got all over her. The weird thing is that she didn't even cry. She just stood there and allowed them to bite her. And I thought, oh my God, you little turd, you're just like your mother. You just go through that. And she just didn't cry whatsoever. Not even after it had happened. And I thought, oh God, is this a sign of autism? Is this a sign? Immediately I'd known that there was something odd about that. And I guess also the way that I am, the way that I just like, it doesn't really affect me until it really affects me. And then I freak out. But then a lot of autistic people don't freak out at all. They just allow it and they just swallow it. So I used to do that a lot. Now I let everything sort of flow through me so that it ends up like on a more even sort of whatever. So I was just thinking, what if the child stayed with me, right? And I was like all in love with it, trying to do the best for it. The dad wasn't in the picture, just whatever. I was just doing my own thing. And then all of a sudden it would get sick and hurt. Or even if the dad did come back, like some stupid people keep saying, like, oh, maybe he'll own up to what he... No, he's an idiot. He's stupid. I don't understand why anybody would think that. If he didn't act right from the beginning of meeting me, he's not going to act right in the middle, and he's sure as fuck not going to act right toward the end. So it doesn't matter to me. People are crazy. They never change in that manner. Some people don't change. I change back into my rightful perspectives, and I feel like if I were to allow that love and that sacrifice to myself again, to let people in, to have this child and have that like corruption, that mindfulness toward if there were anything, if anything were to happen to the baby. So that's very bothersome for me because I don't like to see anything pain and suffer. It hurts me a lot. Even if it's not myself going through it, mostly just even seeing and witnessing it because I'm just so empathetic to others, just empathic in that way. But like I was saying, I really don't understand why anybody would want to go through that. Why would you want to go through the pain of wanting children in this day and age when everything is toxic? Why? So I felt like, it was doing a child a disservice by bringing it into such a toxic world that was just falling apart, and there were no resources and there were no ways of combating some of the toxins and additives and mutations that have been inflicted upon us, if that makes any sense. So that's why I thought, oh my God, like, I understand it's supposed to be some type of blessing for crazy people that live in this realm, that live on this tangible realm, where they're like, oh no, baby's a blessing, you're cute. Yes, okay, I get it, it's cute. But if you can't supply for it, and then the whole world's going to shit and there's no resources for it, why am I trying? Why would I want to do that to a baby? I never wanted a baby in this manner. I wanted it if I were to be able to sustain it properly and to give it everything it wants and needs. Maybe not everything it wants, but everything that it needs. And, discipline it as well, so that it didn't need more than everybody else. That it wasn't wanting for more, so that it understood that, and I say that a lot because I just got high. But also, this isn't just a high thought. I don't want to go through the suffering of having to watch something else suffer. That's insane to me. That is crazy. People talk about me being crazy, not wanting to keep my kid. I'm going to change my mind. No, I'm thinking for the baby. And if I stay the fuck away from it, apparently I'm cursed. Apparently my last name was cursed from my grandfather's side and everything. The Servin side. So, I don't know. All of it is just crazy to me. I know I live in sort of like an imagination station, my little world. I don't care. What's the problem with that? What's the problem? Everything else is too stressful anymore. I can't do it. I just can't do it. I had that stuff. I had a baby, and I had to see her go away. Just disappear. I have no idea if she exists. I can understand why people freak out to the point of murdering others. I can understand. But only having had sustained as much trauma as I've sustained and been able to still stand upright, which most people are like, holy shit, if that were me. Yeah, most people wouldn't be able to sustain as much as I've sustained and be able to live the tale and not have been incarcerated by now, or been on heavy drugs, or finding some other way of detaching, or trying to make the same mistakes over and over again, which I tried not to. I tried to appropriate myself for others as well as myself, so that I wouldn't feel so ashamed of myself for having done the things that I had done in the past that weren't as sort of respectable as I would have liked, or even humane in some instances, because there were times where I was just very vulgar to random strangers because I was going through something. And I realized only now, coming down from the psychiatric medications, that I actually have this amount of empathy toward all of the trauma that I offered others, that I abused others through my words or my actions or any of that. But I'm not going to sit there and pretend like I'm not frightened for the well-being of this child, and that's why I didn't want it to exist in the first place. And that's why I don't feel like abortion is that inhumane, because even though the child has a heartbeat, you have to recognize the pain and suffering the child's going to sustain when it doesn't have anything. There was a documentary I was starting to watch about somebody, I think it was Korean, that was over here, realized after 37 years or so that they weren't technically a citizen and they got deported. So they were adopted over here by a family, a wholesome white family, right? And then they ended up sustaining a bunch of abuse, going through different adopted parents. And I don't know, I didn't finish the documentary, but that was horrifying to think that, even these children that are adopted, people are like, no, if they want the child, if they're willing to pay money for a soul. I'm sorry, what? The same thing with jacking off in a cup? Like when you sperm bank it? I don't get it. The concept just evades me. I don't understand why you would see that person as a rational, sensible person and not to listen from the perspective of the woman that had gone through what she had gone through, because that makes absolutely no sense. None of it does. Absolutely none of it. How would you think that that person is sane enough to make those interactions, to produce those interactions and produce children? If you want me to be compassionate toward this child and give up my life for this child, and I did the moment that it was conceived, right? So I'm altered regardless, because I've had to go through a secondary pregnancy, and to the extent of giving birth to it. That's horrifying. That's completely horrifying. I'm scared. I don't know what to do or say anymore. And that's why I feel like I understand where people think that I'm just being cruel and compassionless, and I'm thinking, no. I'm thinking about the well-being of that, and I'm thinking about the well-being of me, because I was also a child that didn't quite get the opportunities that your children got, and then you can turn around and have all the time in the world just to harass me. What's wrong with you? Get a life. All I've ever wanted is just a family. That's why I kept my mouth shut, and I didn't want anybody to get in trouble, and I just sustained it all and just swallowed it. And that's why when I finally started sharing, people are like, oh my God, she makes me cry. Don't talk to her. Yes, don't talk to me, because I'll throw back something in your face that you've lived through or seen somebody else live through, and I understand, because from my perspective, I kind of understand. Mostly I can. People think that I'm just rushed and thinking about my own story all the time, but I'm not. I'm very considerate of others and what they've gone through. And why shouldn't you be? You should understand. And I understand that you've never come in contact with somebody that is so, verbal and wants to just discuss this stuff, because it makes absolutely no sense to her. There's too many contradictions, and that's why I wanted to convey that. That's why I wanted to live through it. That's why I wanted to expose it in the way that I've exposed it, and I didn't even know I was doing that, but that's just how it is. When you just give your life to God, that's how it goes. And I've done that since my childhood. Since I came back and forth. Double entendres all the time, I swear. Why do I think this way? I think I've very much built more like a man. That's why I hang out with men more often, and I can make them laugh. And a lot of times, too, I kept my integrity through all of it. And there were a few times, I probably shouldn't have been so flirtatious. But I wasn't being flirtatious with who I believe is the father. And if they're like, oh, it's not him, I'd be like, whatever, bullshit. I call you out on that. No, thank you. Whatever. But still, there would only be two. Because I still had a full period, and it was a lengthy one. I wouldn't think that I would have already been pregnant. Plus, I'm already gotten to this point. I'm still not finished developing it. So, that's so weird. This entire thing is so weird. I don't understand. Being inside of this flesh and bones and everything is so weird. I'm telling you. And it's not all the weed. I'm telling you that, too. This is me being rational for once. Like, I don't want to see any of that. That's horrifying. That's disgusting. That's disturbing. I didn't want to be born into this flesh and incarnation. Yeah, incarnation. Oh. Well, anyway, I'm going to go urinate. I'm so weird. I know I'm overly informative, but why not? You need to understand. I have to go use the facilities. I have to go the lavatory. So I just want to go away. I just want to disappear. I just want to go and read. I just want to relax. And none of this makes any sense. All of this scares me. All of this reality, this tangible reality with all of these toxins everywhere, even what we're breathing. And I'm horrified. All of it. I mean, I've been like this for years. When I was a kid, there was a lot of stuff that grossed me out, but like to the extreme. I was a very strange child. Everyone says that. Very curious. What a precocious young lady. I still think I'm more of a boy. I don't know. My mannerisms. I look like a boy to me. I look more like a boy. I don't really look like a girl to me. I feel like I sound very masculine in my head. When I hear it, my voice, it sounds very deep. And then when I hear it, I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck am I? What am I? Because I always thought that I had more, because I was raised around my brothers, and my dad was always so like, whatever, just shove her in with the boys. Not that I like women more than men sexually. I still like how stupid men are. I don't know, that's so mean. I'm so mean. But they're just so dumb. They're just so cute, you know? And they don't even mean to be. They're just so dumb, it's arousing, you know? And then they'll do some things that you ask them to do if you really persuade them. But I don't try to do that very often. That's why I feel terrible, because I do incriminate myself, but not in a way to really incriminate myself. What do I do wrong? I try to do right by everything. That's why I try to, you know, get the paperwork that you need. Money, money, money. Papers. Nonsense. Nonsense, where has this been? What is going on? I've been stressed. And then you put me in jail? That's horrifying. It's horrifying. I feel disgusting. I feel like I haven't been able to sanitize my belongings well. I feel really gross. That's why I just let it all go to shit. I can't do it anymore. 2 years. 2 years. When is it going to be over? God, no. God, no. I just want to cry. I just want to go cry. I do. I just want to cry myself to sleep and death. And death. But I'm not laughing because I don't mean it. I'm laughing because I do mean it, which is the sad part. I'm going to ruin my purse. I've had this purse for like 3 years. Why? Why? Those American flags over there are all tattered. It's a sign for me. They're all frayed at the ends. It's the corruption seeping in. It's destroying those 2 American flags. I wish I could turn it around and expose it. This is a Walmart parking lot. You know where I'm at. You know where I'm at. Call me out. Fuck you. Make me worried. And I don't know if this is actually real and getting out to the public, or if you just stop me because you're like, oh my God, her reality is real. Those tattered flags. It's symbolic, isn't it? All tattered and ripped away, torn. No longer 50 states, not united, not for the betterment of mankind, but the worsening of it. Segregation. The separation of each one of those lines, each one of those stripes. Yup. Yup! I spit everywhere. Fuck it. Been all drooly lately. 'Cause I'm scared. Constantly. Like a bunny. Just run away. Stay away from me. Don't touch me. Symbolic that there's 2. Also, that's weird. Alright. I love you. I love you. I love you. I wish I had my poodles. I wish I could just squish their little faces, grind my teeth at them. Oh my God, I love them so much. I want something fluffy. Children, you can't squeeze them. I was always just scared of breaking Tootsie. I didn't want to touch her or give her kisses because I didn't want to contaminate her in any way. You can't really squeeze that. Like, I might break it. It's a human being. It came out of my body. What the fuck? What the fuck? And I've got to go in public places and just... I don't make eye contact generally. Just don't look at me. I'm in shorts. I hate my legs. I hate my feet. I hate everything. All of this is disgusting. My hair is gross. Everything. It's hot in here. Okay. No panic attacks yet. You're okay, bitch. Alright. August 15th, 2022. Leticia Collins Servin. Everyone have a blessed week. Start to your week. Do what you've got to do. You know what I mean? You just gotta do what you gotta do. Love you. Bye-bye.